Today we will travel to Slovenia, the last former Yugoslav country I visited. Slovenia is a small mountainous nation sandwiched between Austria and Croatia, a frontier of the Holy Roman Empire. By 14th century, most of present-day Slovenia was under firm control of Habsburg monarchy. Medieval Slovenian lands saw ongoing German colonization even before Habsburg control was fully solidified, with 11th to 13th centuries being the peak. Eventually, area of Styria and northern Carinthia became heavily Germanized. German colonists formed the ruling class, with native Slavic population remaining predominantly peasant. Society was feudal. The nobles would receive large grant of lands from the emperor and treat the area as their own mini realm. Eventually, to better manage their dominion, the ruling nobles would bequeath a smaller portion of their land to vassals, usually the distinguished knights or poorer, less influential nobles. The vassal, in turn, would swear an oath of allegiance. Today, small area of this Balkan country is dotted with castles, fortresses, and defensive structures. The overlords constructed the castles as a show of power, as well as a way to safeguard their lives from numerous peasant upheavals and wars that rolled through the region. The notable example of the conflicts that rattled Slovenian parochial calm would be the war between Habsburgs and Czech monarch Otakar II for control of Slovenia in the late 13th century, as well as a later persistent threat of an Ottoman invasion. Even though Ottomans never occupied Slovenia, Turkish military raids intensified from the late 15th century. In 1478, angered by the consistent attacks and plunder by the Ottomans, and burdensome taxation imposed by the Habsburg crown, which mostly benefited local elites, peasant Slovenes rose up against the German feudals. The rebellion was crushed by the feudal militias on one end, and yet another marauding Turkish raid on the other. So this was the prime. Now let's explore a few castles. In this video, we will visit 3 castles, while subsequent ones will be dedicated to castles in Maribor and Ptuj. Ljubljana Castle is perched 400 meters over the quaint capital city. First settlement on the castle hill is dated to the 2nd millennium BC. The area was subsequently ruled by Celts and Romans. By early 12th century, the area was in the realm of Sponheim family, an aristocratic German dynasty. By 1220, a permanent defensive structure and a noble mansion existed on the site. In 1270, Ljubljana and its castle were conquered by Czech king Otakar II in his bid to wrestle Slovenia from Habsburg's grip. Throughout the 15th century, the castle undergoes major reconstruction. Habsburgs, fearful of an imminent Ottoman attack, seek to build a strong citadel. Most of the Sponheim's fortress is torn down. New walls and towers are constructed. Moat is dug around the castle. In 1511, the castle successfully withstood the onslaught of yet another peasant rebellion. With the defeat of Ottomans at Vienna in 1683 and their resulting loss of military influence in Central Europe, Ljubljana Castle loses its defensive function. Istanbul no longer threatens Austrian frontier, and the castle on the hill serves as a warehouse. Napoleon troops briefly controlled Ljubljana in late 18th to early 19th century, with the castle functioning as a military hospital. For the remainder of the 19th century, Ljubljana Castle served as a prison. At the start of World War I, Austro-Hungarian political prisoners were confined within castle walls. After Italy switched side in May 1915, Ljubljana Castle served as an internment camp for Italian POWs. During World War II, first Italian and then German occupiers ran another prison inside the castle walls. By the most conservative estimates, between 3 to 5,000 Ljubljana's residents were murdered by the Nazis. Suspected communists, partisan sympathizers, and intellectuals were arrested on the street and never to be seen again. In the effort to erase Slovene identity, another 25,000 people from Ljubljana and its environs were forcibly deported to resettlement camps. The barbed wire fence was wrapped around the entire city. Finally, on May 9th, the flag of freedom soared high over Ljubljana, as the last of Hitler's troops fled toward Austria. Žovnek Castle is located about 60 kilometers northeast of Ljubljana. The construction of the castle dates back to the first half of 12th century. Its first ruler was recorded as a local noble, Gebhard of Savinia. By the end of the 12th century, the members of his family were known as Lords of Žovnek and controlled multiple nearby castles in Savinia Valley. Unlike many medieval land-owning nobles in Slovenia who were German, it is believed that lords of Žovnek were either of full or partial Slovene ancestry. During the war with Czech king Otakar II in 1270s, Žovniks strategically allied themselves with Habsburg crown. At the end of the war, Žovniks gained the status of privileged vassals, expanding their control and influence in the area. By 1340s, Žovniks inherited the realm of Celje, moving their residence to Celje Castle. Their title now read Counts of Celje. The dynasty ceased in mid-15th century. Habsburg crown came in possession of the Žovnek Castle and then sold it to another noble family. For the next 5 centuries, the castle had myriads of owners. By the 18th century, Ottomans were no longer a threat, while castle's new lords didn't hold much reverence for it as Žovniks did. In 1816, Joseph Chokol von Ruthenthal, the castle's then owner, began construction of the new residence. The castle was abandoned. Von Ruthenthal used stone from Žovnek's walls as construction material. By early 20th century, ruins of Žovnek Castle were bought by Baron Edmund Knobloch. Knobloch attempted basic reconstruction of the property. The castle then suffered further damage and plunder during World War II. Following the establishment of the socialist Yugoslavia, the property was nationalized. Most of the descendants of the German colonists were expelled to Austria or Germany. The serious restoration work began at the end of the 20th century. Velenje Castle dates to 1270, overlooking mostly modern industrial town. Kunschberg family were the initial owners of the castle. So, throughout its 850-year history, Velenje Castle changed numerous hands as the local nobles sold the property. In the 16th century, the Wagen family rebuilt the castle, giving it more of a Renaissance appearance one can see today. Wagen family were Lutheran, which was highly uncommon in staunchly Catholic Austrian frontier lands. Center of Lutheranism was thus forming around the Velenje Castle.
Like, did they know that?
No, that is the accident
Yeah.
that actually happened. The ground.
The last private owner of the castle was Italian Count Cronini Kromberg. Following the end of World War II, the castle was nationalized. After the war, Velenje grew from a small settlement at the foothill of the castle hill into a large industrial town, mainly due to the development of the mining industry. The most of castle's original interior decor was lost following the end of the war. The castle now houses Velenje's ethnological, art, natural history, and military museum. This portion of Slovenian trip comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed a brief excursus to Slovene history and enjoyed a few castles that we visited. In the subsequent videos, I got few more places to show you in Slovenia. And anyway, until later.